just kind of taking it like one day at a time. Like a lot of my family doesn't understand the way I'm living right now. You know.
What do you mean by that?
I grew up in a normal middle class suburban lifestyle. Like my pops was a teacher in Paradise Valley. He didn't make a ton of money, but like he did stuff on the side to keep us like in a decent area and played like year round basketball for these teams and stuff. But I had a joke I was doing like I went like full circle like middle class white trash because now I literally like stay in like the back of this trailer like on my construction yard, like, and it's nice and like, and I've redone it and everything, but like I'm technically like in a trailer. Like it's a very minimalist lifestyle. I've got 2 forks, 2 knives, 2 spoons, like everything I have I use, and I appreciate. And I've got this huge like mechanic workshop to work on the motorcycles I've been working on. I got 2 or 3 guys that I'm working on their bikes for them and stuff, which is like kind of therapeutic for me.
But is the area you live on, like the lot, is it secure?
Oh, for sure. There's a big like 15-foot fence with like barbed wire all around it. But there's like a Fascinations right north of us, and then there's our yard. But you just hear stuff all the time. Like, and there's sometimes it'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'll hear some crazy fight going on outside. And sometimes they'll hop that fence and try to like steal tools and stuff. Like,
oh yeah,
it's pretty crazy. Like. You can't go to a gas station there in a 2-mile race without people asking you like, "Hey, do you want some G? Do you want some this? Do you want some that?" Like, man, I hate to sound like a cliche suburb. My dad made just enough money to keep us in that middle class level where I'd go to parties at my friend's house and be like, "Man, Cole's got a big ass backyard. Like, damn, pops, you need to up your game or something." Because like we lived in those like Fletcher Heights houses where they're nice, but they all look the same. Like there's only 3 or 4 styles of homes like that, and it was just other than once my mom left, it was a lot more tranquil because those last like 3 years she was there, she's getting real physical with me, real physical with my dad, and it's weird to see your father getting beat up by a little 5-foot drunk woman, and my dad never once raised his voice, and she'd be slapping him. We'd hide all the booze. She's drinking mouthwash. She's taking off like we had a golf cart. She like crashed that into the neighbor's house. Just crazy. She'd show up in my basketball games, and you could just hear her over everybody, "Get that fucking ball, Bobby! Get that fucking ball!" And my friend Mike would be like, "Dude, your mom's crazy. Like she's fucking really drunk today." And like my coach would like have to escort her to leave. She went out of the gym for a minute, went and got cigarettes, and then came back. "Can't fucking kick me out of here. My fucking son's the MVP on this fucking like." And then the ref and everyone's like, "You need to control her. I'm gonna fucking like kick her out." I was like, "Mom, just fucking chill." Like. So once she left, it was I instantly just saw my dad like relax a little bit more. But then my house became the party house, dude. I literally lived 500 feet away from my middle school and 1,000 feet away from my high school. So my house was like the party house. Like,
a fun house.
Man, well, I had turntables, like I had dirt bikes, I had skateboards, and like I had a ping pong table in the front room. Like my dad just let me get away with murder,
Really?
Oh yeah, he became more of like a friend. He was always there and stuff, but like. Man, he'd come home on a Friday night, there'd be 60 kids there, and there'd be pyramids of beer cans, and the backyard got lit on fire because Brenda threw a coal from the hookah in the trash, and it caught the trash can on fire, and just crazy stuff.
What would he say when he came home?
He's the type of guy, he calls me like Bubba. Bubba, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed in you. Like that type of thing, like, "Oh, Pop, you hit me with the psychology stuff. It hurts so much worse."
When did your parents separate? Like when...
Oh, well, like when I was 10 or 11, they tried therapy. She moved into the back room. They tried that. She moved into an apartment. And then finally they're just like, "Oh, screw it." Like I think when I was 12 going on 13 is when they actually got divorced. And
so what's life like with, what kind of relationship do you have with your mom now?
You know what? It's hit or miss. It will be good for a couple months and she'll be like, "Man, I'm proud of you. Like you're doing well." And then she came to my place a couple months ago, and she's taking pictures on her phone. I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "My girls at the office are not going to believe where you're living, Bobby. This is crazy." I'm like, "Mom, I like living here." She's like, "I just think you could do so much better." Like, why? I don't need to be doing better. She hates that I'm doing comedy again. She thinks it's a waste of time. You're just in some bar around all these lowlifes and you're getting drunk. Like, that's not even it. A lot of these places, like, Man, there's this place called Do Better where you have to do like clean comedy and like there is no like alcohol and stuff and you're really there like working on your craft. Like that's hard when you don't have any type of like crutch or like liquid courage or something. Like so most people can be a little funny on a Friday night or something. Like I see you on a Wednesday with a bunch of soccer moms and everyone's sober.
So, what is your relationship like with your dad right now?
It couldn't be better. We're at this weird stage where we tell each other the truth, but when it's something where we don't want to worry the other party, we're not 100% honest about it. Like he had prostate cancer a couple years ago. Didn't tell anybody in the family until he was like done with chemo. And it was weird. He kept like having bathroom accidents and like his stomach was always messed up. And I could tell something was wrong. And then finally he's like, well, I had prostate cancer. And they just cut out these polyps. Like it's fine. Da da da. If I'm like struggling in a relationship or like money or like on some like drug bender for a few days or something, obviously I won't tell him anything like that. Like it's very like I don't want to worry him. He's in his 70s. He's retired. He taught 7th and 8th grade math for like 35 years.
Tell us about the first time you took drugs.
Whew, man, I was 13 years old and I just had a knee surgery, my first one of two in 8th grade going into freshman year, and they gave me 5 milligram hydrocodone, which is Vicodin, and I had the bottle and it was up in our medicine cabinet next to the Advil and Tums, and my pops didn't watch it or anything, and then 3-4 days later I was like, Pop, is there any refills on that hydrocodone? And he went and looked, and a month's supply was gone in like 3 days. I'd given a couple to my friend, but I literally was taking 5 or 6 at a time. That was the first time I realized, oh, if I take 3 or 4 of these, it gives me this feeling.
What was the feeling?
Ooh, my pain went away. It felt like a warmth all over me. I felt confident. I felt awake. I felt tired. I felt impervious to like pain. And just confident. It gave me a weird blanket of confidence,
If you can compare that to, is there any other drug out there like that?
I mean, I've done any and every kind of drug you can think of, and like opiates is a tough one because it's so damaging and like moving, and then 3 days later you're physically like addicted to it. Like
in 3 days.
Oh man, yeah. It's crazy. Like I did the whole Oxycontin thing like after that, and I was doing like 80 milligram Oxycontin pills like they were nothing. It was just ridiculous. Yeah, whenever you're dealing with drugs where people physically need them, it's a weird thing, because you see people turn into really like grimy people. Like the weirdest thing I've done to support my habits is like donating plasma or something. Like I'm very private about my stuff. Like, because a lot of people don't understand it. They don't think you can do drugs or partake in things and not be some piece of shit or something. Like it's what I do doesn't define who I am, and I'm just very honest about it. Like, but I mean, 25 years ago, I got treated like a crackhead when my parents found a gram of weed under my bed. Like, Bobby, who is this? Who you own this for? And it was like, it's a gram of Dro. That shit cost me like $20. Let me get that shit back. Like, and now it's like, oh man, it's decriminalized. They're like, man, you guys were all talking shit when I was smoking this constantly, but it was just easy for me because like I was tall, I was playing basketball, I'm like here to get a physical for GCC, or like, man, my knee hurts from the surgery. Well, now my good knee hurts because it's overcompensating. Well, let's do some cortisone shots. Well, let's up the Vicodin. Well, let's try Percocet. Let's try you on the 10 milligram 325 Percocets. All right, cool, doc. 3 months later, I go back like, man, these just aren't working. Well, let's up it again, And this was 10 years ago when they're handing them out like candy. And I hate to sound like a manipulator, but like you go in there with a nice polo on and you like speak well and like look them in the eye. They don't think I'm there searching for drugs, And at the same time, I'm just waiting to get that script in my hand. And now I got 2 or 3 buddies who found a crooked doctor in Scottsdale that you go to, pay cash out of pocket, and you leave there with 120 perks and 60 Xanax bars. And then you go in and you pay for the script cash out of pocket. And man, we'd go to 5 or 6 pharmacies until we found one that like had enough of the pills and shit. And this pharmacy lady, like, I've never seen this many Oxycontins been prescribed to anyone. Like, do you have cancer or something? Do you have something terminally? I was like, I don't really want to talk about it, man. Like, that was rough, man.
So you told a story last time about how you stole the golf cart.
Yeah.
So
allegedly. No, I did.
Allegedly. So What was your thought process like? So take us through it. So what happened? You see the golf cart?
Well, you gotta understand where I'm at mentally. Okay, I'm on probation now for armed robbery at 20 years old. I'm wearing an ankle monitor. I've got bleached blonde hair. I'm in a wife beater and flip flops, and I'm in my brother's house, and he's getting ready to drop me off at my dad's later in the evening. So I'm in Sun City, getting ready to go Sun City West. It's real awkward in my brother's house. I'm on probation, so I'm trying to be a good boy and not have drugs in my system. So there's this shit called Spice that was around at the time where they sell it at tobacco shops, and it was like a synthetic marijuana that's just sprayed with whoever the fuck knows. Like, it's horrible shit, but I was smoking like an eighth of that a day. It would get you high for like 20 minutes. And my brother was weird. He's like, I don't want to smoke that in the house. I'm like, it's legal. I bought it at a tobacco shop. He was like, I just don't want you smoking that in the house. So I rolled up some joints and I'm walking in the neighborhood. There's a bar there. There's karaoke starting like in a half hour. I was like, man, I'm gonna do some Sublime or something. And I'm in there. I have like 2 or 3 shots of Jägermeister, a couple beers, and I'm like 160 pounds, real skinny. Didn't drink a lot at the time, and I got pretty drunk. Go outside to have a cigarette, and there's like 3 or 4 golf carts of these retired guys that just drive around these golf carts, and they all had the keys in them. Well, one of them had like a radio and speakers. I'm like, man, I gotta check this out. And I go and I start it, and I'm like, damn, dude, it's working. I put it in reverse, and it literally just goes beep, beep, beep. I'm like, well, damn, I'm fucking in it now. Like, I don't know what's. And I throw it in drive, and I take off. Literally 2 minutes later, there's 5 or 6 Maricopa County Sheriff's cars behind me. And I made it just to the next street to my brother's house, and I stopped right in front of his house. And he just saw the commotion and came out. And, like, my brother didn't miss a beat, though. Like, is he going to county? Well, can I get him a jacket? It's cold in there. I'm like, damn, bro, like.
So you went to jail for that?
Yeah, it's theft and means transportation. The first attorney, my dad got that nice Jewish guy and got me probation for armed robbery, which is crazy.
Wait, what was the armed robbery?
Oh, like I was with friends that were like robbing pharmacies and shit. Like, and I was just kind of, I mean, I'm guilty of it because even if you're in the car and you know something's going, like you're guilty by association type of deal. I would just do dumb things for like adrenaline rushes. Like the last day of school, I'd ride my dirt bike all through the high school campus, like no shirt on, like tattoos I just got, like cops waiting for me at my house, like. Dude, just dumb stuff. I just like to. I was the guy who would like pull the fire alarm.
So when you are in jail and now your life is, it seems like opposite. What's going on internally? Like,
man, honestly, I either need to like find a way to like off myself, or I need to break the fuck out of here, or I'm never gonna get out of here. Because to be honest, I was terrified. Just didn't know what to do. I just went through intake, standing with like 60 other inmates. We're all naked and they're shaving our heads and stuff. And like, we're all standing there naked. And like, I'm trying not to like peek at these guys like weird dicks and like awkward bodies, but I can't help myself and stuff. And all these guys just looked intimidating. They got all these tattoos. They're all big and buff. I still got like the bleached blonde hair at the time. So like, people were making fun of me. Like, it was just very, very, very intense. And, nobody wanted to help me, and I realized right away that everybody was out for themselves, and everyone was trying to be opportunistic, and what can I get from this person? And there was a lot of, like, praying going on. And, like, I'd never been to prison before, but, like, I had enough wherewithal and street smarts to know, like, this dude's not trying to be my friend. He thinks I got money, or he thinks I got this, or thinks I have that, like.
So what do you mean by praying? So what would... Give me an example of a situation.
Okay, there's an older inmate. He's got a younger cellie. It's his first time. Well, that guy's first time, his parents are going to be like, oh, you need money for a TV. You need money for commissary, which you do. The older inmate who's been to prison 5 times, his mom isn't putting money on his books for cigarettes and coffee and hygiene. That younger guy is going to feel obligated to look out for the older guy who showed him the ways or helped him out or got him a free tattoo or gave him some tobacco when he didn't have any or whatever. White guys, technically, you're not supposed to have open gay guys. You can't have transgender people, and absolutely you can't have any type of gay relations in there. Mm-hmm. But this is my cellmate, you know, and he was doing like 12 years, and we'd gotten in a fight about something, and like he knocked me unconscious and like kind of had his way with me. Thankfully, I don't really remember too much of that except like coming to, and I was like bleeding, and like he was like kind of getting dressed. I was like, what the fuck, man? But like, I just laid there in my rack, not sleeping, thinking like, I'm gonna have to stab this. Like, what could I do? I can't go tell the head of our race, this dude named Ogre, hey Ogre, I'm pretty sure Matt like fucked me and I can't like shit right for a couple of weeks. Like, no, I just bottled that shit inside, and I bought a poker from this guy, and I was literally gonna stab Matt like one of these nights. It was a very, very nerve wracking. I didn't know what to do. I hated myself. I was like, because people think, man, I would never let a guy do that to me. I would never, bro, I don't give a fuck how big you are, how bad you are. There's a guy that's bigger. There's a guy that's badder. There's a time where you can get caught slipping. He was twice my size. I'm trying to fight. I would punch him so hard in the arms, like my arms would just get tired, and then he would just lay me out. Like he knew how to fight. Fighting in an 8x12 cell with a metal toilet and metal bunk beds is very, very tricky. It's very easy to like get caught in certain type of things. And he was the type of guy, like, he would knock me down and then kick me while I was down. Like, I got soccer kicked in the face by him, like trying to get up off the ground. Like, he was a very dirty, like, type fighter.
Where were the guards?
They only walk every 15, 20 minutes, and they don't care about that stuff. They just didn't. After the riot too, they really did not like our yard. We were yard 1, and that's where the riot like initiated. They hate us because we caused so many paperwork. There was a guy that died. It was just, we were locked down for 2 weeks after that. They have to bring us our meals, bring us our meds and shit. Like, they were not happy with us. But the guys used to say, man, like, those guards just work here. We live here. Like, they go home. Like, this is our home. Like, we run shit. They think they do. No, we fucking run it. There's 2 tables in the cafeteria that are just for white guys. You have to walk around all the other tables. You can't cut through. You eat with your race, you shower with your race. Everything's with your race. This is our pull-up bar. This is the white shower. This is the white pull-up bar. This is a white cell. It's different now, but like that's how it was. Like, everything was with your race. It was really weird because I've never grown up or thought like that. I never understood like racism or like not getting someone because they're like a different color. A lot of my heroes and people I looked up to weren't white. Like, it's just what I was into. I was there for probably 2 years before my folks came to see. It was Tucson. They were living way in Peoria. I wasn't expecting them to come. It was way the heck out there. Also, it's really intimidating. Like, visits are weird. You're in some like chair to chair thing outside, and there's so many like people around you. It's just it's kind of hectic, and like my dad would just be like, look how buff that guy is, look at the tattoo, you see his face is all and a guy walks by, he's got a bandana type style over his entire face tattooed. When you see him from a distance, it looks like he's got a bandana. My dad's like, I'm gonna ask him if that hurt. I'm like, Dad, don't say anything to anybody. And he did a great job, man. I bump into his students all the time, and they just have nothing but amazing things to say about my dad.